Hey, Darkman here, and welcome back to the RWBY Manga review, Chapter 2. I'm not even sure if these things really have titles. I haven't seen any, title pages, other than it saying RWBY 2 at the bottom, and that's really it. Doesn't really look like any of them have titles. So yeah, so the chapter starts off, we're back where it did last time, with John kind of getting thrown through, well, definitely getting thrown through a table, but he's just kind of like, yeah, it was just me tripping, it doesn't really matter, it's nothing important. And that's when Glinda walks up, talking about the virtues of a hunter, they shouldn't use their powers when they shouldn't mistreat others, they shouldn't abuse their abilities. And then that's when Cardin just kind of says, as long as he devotes himself, there's no problem. But then Glinda kind of says, since we have the chance to, I guess these two kids should just fight each other for really no reason. And that's kind of where it instantly cuts to RWBY looks like she's going to freaking pass out fighting against Cardin in front of a huge crowd for some reason. I don't know how RWBY got dragged into this, and neither does she. But then it's kind of like them all just standing there, just kind of yelling at her, cheering her on. And in her head, she's kind of going a little insane. And that's when Yang remembers that, oh, right, RWBY doesn't do well with people. And so then that's when the fight begins. Well, before that, Weiss kind of tells RWBY to start acting like the leader, since she is the leader. And then as Cardin comes up to swing at her, it kind of looks like his head's on fire. At least that's what it looks like to me. It's a really weird kind of art decision. As he brings it down, just a humongous explosion occurs, and RWBY's just kind of thinking to herself, why does she want to become a hunter? When he brings it up, another explosion happens, so he's seeming a little bit stronger than he does in the show. Oh, and she's now thinking to her back to when Yang and her were looking for Yang's mom, when she was just kind of being called around in the wagon. The Grimms are attacking. Uncle Crow shows up to just cut them all down. And she's thinking to herself that she should probably become a normal girl. Well, and she kind of swings and starts fighting back and thinking that that isn't her. She's going to continue on at Beacon, continue to swing Crescent Rose together with everyone. And last chapter, I really wasn't too sure about the art. It's kind of in that middle zone where I wasn't sure if I liked it or if I didn't. But this chapter kind of won me over to the area of where I did like it. And so RWBY just kind of goes past him super fast, cutting him all over the place. And that's the end of the fight. And then it kind of goes on to talk about how exactly it depends on their strength. It's dependent on the strength of one's abilities is their aura, but that doesn't mean they're weak or anything. That's kind of the thing. And it shows a picture of Weiss, because they're all kind of looking at something now, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. And in the show you can't really tell where Weiss has her scar, but here you can definitely tell whenever she closes her eye, because it's very prominent. I didn't even notice Weiss actually had a scar until it was pointed out to me by some video. I forgot what it was. And it turns out that all three of them are looking at RWBY, who's not wearing her school uniform, and she's just wearing her normal gear that she's always wearing. And that's where the chapter... No, it continues, sorry. These chapters are just so short, I just thought that's where it ended. And it's basically just a pretty cool picture of Torchwick just kind of standing in front of the moon, saying that she better watch herself next time. And that is where this chapter comes to an end. Now, see, these are monthly things that happen, and some of you may think, well, you are really enjoying Dragon Ball Super, are you not? And I'd say, yes, that's a monthly series. That's not as long as other monthly series are, let's say Attack on Titan, which is 40 to 50 pages each time. But the Dragon Ball Super chapters are full of content, while the RWBY ones seem to lack it. Nothing has really gotten done in these two first chapters. And gladly at the bottom of this page, of the last page, it says that the next chapter will be about Weiss's past, which I'm thankful for, because like, why do we need to go over the stuff that we've already seen? The only part of it that we hadn't was RWBY versus Cardin, which was cool, but that's really the only good about this chapter, is the like 3-page fight between RWBY and Cardin. The rest of it I didn't care much for, but I'll continue to review it until it gets to the point of horridity that I just can't handle. So until next time, boy.